And so you also have a very big role in this film. I mean, you play Man Two.
Yeah.
Was it always written in the idea that you would take on that character?
I just started to warm to the character a lot over the process of doing it. And so I stepped into the role and no one could tell me no, luckily, because I have too many hats on. And I really wanted to work with Zac as well as a performer. And so,
Look, if I was on in the movie with Zac Efron, I would do everything I could to spend time with him as well. So I
well,
agree with
exactly.
your decision. Hey everyone, this is David Stark from Watch or Pass. Today I'm joined by Anthony Hayes, the writer, director, and star of Gold, which is coming to theaters on March 11th, 2022. We're going to talk to him right now. And while you're watching, if you could like and subscribe to this channel, that would be fantastic. Helps me out a lot. Thank you. So thanks so much for joining me. This is Anthony Hayes, the writer, director, and star of Gold, which is coming to theaters on March 11th, 2022. It is a survival story, kind of, I guess. Like Zac Efron tries to survive in this really harsh environment. They find this treasure, and then there's a lot of paranoia and poor survival and mayhem, but it is a very interesting film. And thank you so much for joining me.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I appreciate your support of the project.
Sure thing. And I wasn't sure what to expect. Like, I wasn't sure if you're going to be all rugged and like full of dirt. I mean, you look like you cleaned up pretty well. Look like you survived your time in the desert. So glad
Yeah,
to
a
hear.
little bit. I do like a beard usually. I don't like myself clean shaven, but I've lost the mullet, which is probably a major improvement. But yeah.
I feel like for a time mullets were back, like in quarantine and everything, like mullets were back, everything went. Like, this is kind of the perfect movie for
Yeah,
that.
back in Australia too, all the young sport kids, professional athletes here have all got mullets. So it was big when I was a kid, and I had one, and I've had one at various stages in my career. In characters, it's always a good one to roll out on screen.
If you can rock it, right?
That's right. That's right.
So, let's get started with, you wrote this and directed it. What was the inspiration for this film? Did you just want to like put Zac Efron in a movie where his looks would like be diminished completely? Was that the idea of this story?
Yeah, it was the picture of Dorian Gray for Zac Efron. I wanted to create a film where his soul is polluted and it shows on his exterior. So it was a perfect way to do it. But
but somehow his eyes they kept shining through no matter what you threw at him. There was something about it.
The thing about these movie stars, though, isn't it? It doesn't matter what you do to them; they still look like movie stars underneath it. So
you're a movie star too. So yes,
such a charisma and a screen presence that you can't knock that out of him. But it was important to have that for this movie too, because it's predominantly him on screen by himself for 90 minutes of the movie, and so you needed someone that could carry the film as well. So he's fantastic, and it's something that no one's ever seen him do before, which is excellent. It's a challenging role for him. It's a new type of film, and he has gone from comedies to things like the Ted Bundy movie. But that still heavily relied on his charm and good looks, and so it was good to grab hold of him and go, grow your beard, let's make you look bad, let's roll you in the dirt, and it was a really fun experience, and he jumped in wholeheartedly, which is fantastic.
Oh, to live that life where the challenge for you is you have to play a person that is not attractive, and that is a difficult role to be.
Yeah, in our wildest dreams, hey.
Yeah, exactly. But no, I agree. Like I think he's a very underrated actor. I really like him. I think he does a really good job, and this was a good movie for him to kind of stretch his dramatic chops and, like you said, kind of carry the screen. I think you need someone like that, like you said, someone who can kind of keep the audience's attention for that long, because you've got like James Franco in, what was it, 140 something hours.
That's
like
right.
That was a similar situation where he had to carry the story basically by himself, and in this one you've got essentially Zac doing the same thing.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, it was really important to find the right actor for the part. And you also, this film is deliberately engineered to have very little backstory and very little of everything. It's an exercise in economy across the board for this film. And the reason for that is we wanted to explore a world in the future where we're devoid of human contact, and that we value things over human connection. And so having characters without names and not having a backstory was part of creating that, I guess, that human pit that we don't want to fall into, where we don't care for each other.
I'm sorry, you said a world in the future where you're devoid of human contact and value things over people, because that
sounds like now.
Yeah, that doesn't sound too far future, actually.
Yeah, the only difference is that Bitcoin's trading at 1.2 million.
Yeah, there. But no, yeah, I will admit I was a little frustrated by not having that backstory. So like I want to know what happened, but then
Yeah.
to be fair to your point, like it does make it almost, I don't know, timeless, and it also puts that you almost don't need that because you really just have the survival story, and you don't really need to know much about what else is happening other than like it's this apocalyptic world and there's not that much to go around. So
To go around, yeah. And we knew that when we were creating it, it was either going to work for people that they really liked, that it was devoid of that, or people were going to want more from it. But we made the choice thematically to go for that and to cut out all the backstory. And it's not something that is usually done in films, and so it was. We had people along the way saying, "But where's he come from?" I was like, "It doesn't matter where he comes from. It matters where he's going. It matters what his soul's doing, and how he's changing as an individual, and what he begins to value over everything else." And we created a world where you don't really know where it is or when it's set, and the signs are in Arabic and Russian and South Korean, and so it was really about creating a world where all cultures have merged on this last continent that has limited resources left, and it's a free-for-all. Everyone's just fucking each other over to get the last little nugget of gold that exists in the world, and that's where we're heading if we're not too careful.
So you are an optimist, it sounds like a glass half full kind of person.
It does, doesn't it? Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's not tell anyone about the ending.
So I guess at what point did Zac come on? Like, had you like written the entire script and then he came on, or did he come on and allow you to kind of like collaborate? Okay, so you had the story in place, and then you found the actor, and then at what point? So was Zac looking for this kind of a role, or was this just something that kind of like you both?
Yeah,
clicked?
so I had a film that was in pre-production in Vancouver before Gold. It was called Stingray, and we had an ensemble cast. We had Joel Legend and Numi Rapace and Maggie Gyllenhaal and John Bernthal and a bunch of actors attached to it at one stage, and we couldn't bring the whole cast together at the one time to facilitate the budget, and so we got 5 weeks into pre-production on that, and the whole thing fell over. And so I was kind of burnt by that experience, and then spoke to my writing partner, Polly Smyth, for Gold, and went, why don't we just create a movie where you only have to actually piece it together with one actor? It's going to be a lot easier to not go through this frustrating thing. And so we did that, and then explored the themes that we wanted to explore. But originally, I was trying to replace an actor on Stingray with Zac Efron. And so I had a couple of meetings with him about that, and he almost did that project. And the upshot of it was he said, I want to work with this director, but I'm not going to do Stingray. And then luckily we already had Gold ready to go, and it was written. And I said, oh, what about this one? And so he read that and then went, yeah, that's the one. I'll do that one. So we very quickly pivoted away from one film and into the other. And it all happened very quickly then. It was, we got up a whole bunch of pre-sales around the world and put it all together, and grabbed a window that Zac was available, and it was in the middle of COVID, and just went for it. So it was it happened really fast.
That's awesome. It's also kind of like that monkey paw wish, right? Like, I want to work with that director, but not that movie. Oh, well, do I have a movie for you, sir?
That's what I got for you. Yeah, and it was, I always said to myself that, you always have to have more than one thing ready when people ask you what's your next thing. And I learned that lesson when I directed a film 10 years ago now. And, when that film came out, it was asked that question over and over, what's your next one? And I hadn't written one yet. And so I was determined this time that I'd spent, many years writing various projects and scripts. So I have, plenty ready to go.
Perfect. You're like Prince with the vault. You've got the vault of work ready to go.
Yeah, we won't call them bottom drawer projects. We'll call them top drawer. But yeah, they're all good to go.
In the inevitable, when you die, after the world runs out of water and we all start scavenging, like you'll be making movies for decades after, because you'll have all that work all done.
That's right. Yeah, exactly. That's right.
And so you also have a very big role in this film. I mean, you play Man Two. Was it always written in the idea that you would take on that character, or was it something where you're just like, look, like Zac's time is this. Someone has to play the part. I'll just do it.
Yeah, I wasn't originally going to do it. I thought about it. I was already producing, directing, and co-writing the thing. That was enough to chew on. And then I just started to warm to the character a lot over the process of doing it. And so I stepped into the role, and no one could tell me no, luckily, because I had too many hats on. And I really wanted to work with Zac as well as a performer. And so I also thought that it would deepen our relationship and our bond by being on screen together, and that then would go on to really service a great performance out of him and earn his trust, and be able to nuance his performance. And it did. It worked out really well. That we had a really great collaboration and friendship on that. So wasn't my original plan. Don't know if I'd do it again, but there it is.
Look, if I was on in the movie with Zac Efron, I would do everything I could to spend time with him as well. So I
Well,
agree
exactly.
with your decision. And also, this was a good sized role, but also like you said, Zac is on the screen most of the time, so it is one where you could wear multiple hats. Like I've talked to a lot of indie directors who do that, and they're like, I loved it, I would never want to do it again. But this one seems like one where you could, like you said, establish that rapport and then use that as you're directing and making the movie as well.
Yeah, exactly. And I knew that too, that obviously I'd be in the beginning and the end of the movie, and there's 90% of it that I'm not in. So there's only three characters in the film, and I'm one of them. But in terms of sucking up my time, it didn't do a lot of that. It was just here and there. So there's a lot of, that was probably the hardest thing, was jumping in and out and not having any consistency. Oh, well, right, I'm on screen now. Oh, okay, quick. Get my accent sorted.
I gotta get rid of my director's hat.
Pull that one off. Oh, there's too much sun. Put it back on. Yeah. So yeah, it was fun to do and fun to work with him. It was great.
And then, so there's one other star in this film, Susie Porter. And where did you find her? Had you worked with her before, or was she just another kind of, she was looking for a project, and you're like, hey, I've got something perfect. It's very short. You can jump on in. Like, how did you get her as well? Because the cast is only three people, so it's easy.
Yeah, I've known Susie for years and years. We've probably done about 4 films together over the years as actors. We actually did one film near the exact same, stayed in the same location that we shot for Gold a couple of years earlier as well. A film called Cargo with Martin Freeman, which is like a zombie apocalypse thing. So we've known each other for years, and I needed someone that would bring a very grounded performance to that character, because it's quite weird when that character enters, and it's quite a heightened character, and you're not really sure what's going on. And Susie's just a great energy to have as well. One of the things I've always said with making films is that, as an actor, I've worked with people that aren't that fun to be around, and you don't get a choice. So when you do get a choice to surround yourself by people, I want to surround myself with people where the experience is one of the most important things other than the film.
Definitely, especially in a cast this size, right? Because you can't really go and hang out with your co-stars. So.
Yeah, that's right. There's nowhere to go. Yeah, there was one pub in this tiny little town, and we all congregated there for a bit of food and a game of pool. But yeah, that was it.
And where was this film? Was it filmed in America? Was it filmed in Australia? Somewhere else? I was very curious, because the setting is perfect. Like, it feels very future and desolate.
Oh, great. Yeah, I'm glad you asked that question. It was filmed in the middle of the desert in Australia. It was about 8 hours drive from Adelaide. And we deliberately wanted to create an environment where you didn't know where it was set. So the signage is in different languages, and I painted out a bunch of the iconic Australian trees that would have been in there. So it was, shot in the middle of the desert. It was intense out there, very, very intense, very hot. Shoes were melting, crew were fainting. There was 360-degree set, no trailers around. So Zac was just in amongst it in the dirt. We had these little things that we'd hold over for shade, but it was really brutal. We had 3 days of sandstorms that wiped us out. So it was, it was pretty intense.
So it sounds like you're a method actor.
Seems like it. Yeah, yeah. That's right.
Is that the bush? Is that the Australian bush? Because I think I've heard of that, like how harsh it can be. So it sounds like it lives up to its reputation.
Yeah, that's right. And I had shot out there a few times before, but this was really monotonous. It was the one location every day, and there was not 360 degrees, nothing to look at. It was just a tree in the middle of the ground. So it was tough, and I have to pay massive thanks to the crew, because we destroyed some equipment, destroyed some some people in the process, and but everyone pitched in and got it done, and it looks like how it feels out there on the screen, which is most important.
And you know what? As an observer, it looked great. So I'm glad that you all went through that.
Right, you can hear the flies. That's right.
So I know we have limited time, so I'm going to switch. I call it the lightning round. There's very lightweight questions about the film. I want to see how your experiences map to things that happen in the movie. You can feel free not to answer them. I will not be offended, but I try to keep them very answerable.
Okay.
First question is, what is the most valuable thing you have found?
found. I was going to say my children, but I didn't really find them.
I mean,
I don't think I've found much, to be honest. I'm one of those guys that is never looking on the ground and never pick up the $5 note. But yeah.
you found the means to make this movie. We'll go with that.
Haven't found the meaning of life.
All right, there we go. Have you ever used a metal detector to find treasure?
No, I haven't.
Right.
No, I haven't. My son wants a metal detector. He's really keen into that. And he just keeps bugging me about it and go, I want to discover some treasures. He's right into pirates at the moment. So maybe I will be very soon.
There you go. That sounds like an adventure too. Perfect movie you can make about finding treasure.
Yeah, that's right.
How long do you think you could survive in the wilderness?
About 4 hours. I don't think I could. I mean, I don't think I could survive that long. I mean, I'd probably have a few tips from doing gold and researching survival techniques. And but I guess, if I was in a wilderness where it was a forest or something, I'd last a lot longer. But if I was out in the desert, I'd be finished. I mean, I'm ginger as well. I'm very fair skinned, so the sun would kill me in 8 hours. I'd be finished.
I think we all would. So of the things that you could have died in this movie, which would you rather die of? I listed them if you need a reference. I got starvation, dehydration, exposure, dogs, snakes, scavengers, freezing, heat stroke, and a tornado.
Oh God, I'd probably take the tornado followed by the dogs.
Tornado would be exciting. I'll give you that.
It would be exciting at the very least. Picked up and thrown around and then just die on impact.
Yeah. And the last question is, do you have any gold on you?
I don't have it. No, I took my ring off today. I usually have a gold onyx ring that I wear that my father passed down for me from his father, but it seems I've lost it. So that's good. Don't listen to this, Dad.
I was going to say perhaps this experience made you want to shy away from gold for a little bit. So we'll go with that.
Yeah, a little bit. I'm not a big gold person. Doesn't look good on my coloring either. But yeah, my dad has a little chunk of gold that I remember him winning when I was a kid and being quite fascinated with that. And it was only about this big, but I remember being fascinated by the weight and how heavy it was and trying to sneak it out of the cupboard at home. And I think he's still got it somewhere.
So this entire process was you just kind of dealing with your father issues. Is that what we're learning?
Basically, yes. Yeah.
Well, you made a beautiful film in the process, so that works out well.
Yeah, that's right. It was worth it.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for your time. This is Anthony Hayes, the writer, director, and star of Gold, which is coming to theaters on March 11th, 2022. It is a very interesting film. You're going to want to bring some water and make sure to have plenty of supplies because it's a journey. So thank you so much for your time.
Thanks very much, David. Appreciate it.
That was Anthony Hayes, the writer, director, and star of Gold, which also stars Zac Efron and Susie Porter. It's a survival paranoia film that really lets Zac Efron stretch his dramatic chops and also has this really desolate environment. It's coming to theaters on March 11, 2022, so you can check it out then. Just don't get stranded on the way. If you like this interview, please like and subscribe to this channel. It helps me out a lot. Make sure all my new content goes straight to you. And please check out my other content. I've got other reviews, interviews, unboxing videos, and recommendations. Thank you.